Rave Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Rants and rAVes. Joining me today is Vish Chhatralia, Chief Digital and Innovation Officer at what was formerly DCC Technology, but today we're kind of talking about a big change that's happening in our corner of the universe. So DCC Technology, which as many of you know, it's the parent company behind Almo Pro AV, Almo, Integrators, it's now rebranded as Nexora. So I'm really excited to have you here, Vish, to kind of talk with me a little bit about this. And first of all, tell me a little bit about why this change happened.
Hey, great to be here, Steph. And it's launch day today, so thank you so much for helping us launch our new brand. We're all very excited. So why we're doing it now, like DCC Technology is the parent company that Almo Pro AV is part of, and Almo Pro AV is our biggest business, so we're very proud of Almo Pro AV. We've been quite a diverse group for quite a while. And then over the last year, we've been doing a lot of work across our group to really focus and specialize around the areas that we can win, which is really around high value add specialist distribution, where we can really be a differentiated, like really valuable partner for manufacturers and resellers and integrators. So kind of we took a tough decision to divest some of our businesses, and they're now with probably a better parent. And now we can really focus on markets like Pro AV, Pro Audio, and some of the really high-end consumer technologies that we play in. So we've been going through that exercise over the last year, 18 months, and I'm really excited. I think we've broadly finished that activity, and now we're really focused on creating a new energy around our group and creating as much value as we can for vendors and customers around this like really exciting opportunity we've got, where we can do accelerated value creation for vendors and customers. So we've kind of got to a point we've been working through for quite a while, and therefore it's really exciting that we're able to rebrand and create a new energy and a new story around who we are as a group.
I think that makes a lot of sense. But of course, as you know, most of our audience, they're integrators, they're the people in the channel. So of course, I'm sure that they're all wondering, will this name change and will this rebrand and any restructuring at all, will this affect Almo partners at all?
I would hope, or I would expect, or maybe I could promise only positively. So our strategy is very different to maybe how some of the others in the market are moving. So our strategy is to really double down on the heritage and the decades of specialism that we've got in the business. So, some of your listeners would have noticed that we moved from Integrators Almo back to Almo Pro AV.
Mm-hmm.
Almo has got 80 years of heritage in the industry. We've got JAM in our portfolio that celebrated 50 years. We've got our Comtech business, which is our AV business in Europe, that's going to celebrate 40 years this year. Decades and decades of experience. So what we're not going to do is turn them into a homogeneous, like monolithic distributor, which I know some of the others see a real value in scale. So for your listeners, where our strategy is to really double down on the specialist position Almo Pro AV has got. So we're not going to dilute anything that we've got. I would hope or I would expect the positive benefits Almo Pro AV will experience is we've got such a significant opportunity to be a better demand, an even better demand creation partner for our vendors, and create even more education and support and technical services for our resellers. And we've got 27 businesses across our group. We've got 2,500 people, and we're about 3.6 billion in revenue. So we've got real scale, and our strategy is how do we keep and stay true to Almo Pro AV and its heritage and its specialism, and not dilute it. And you know better than anyone, Steph, of what we were talking about backstage, of the affinity and the affection and the position that Almo Pro AV have got. The positive opportunity I see is by this community of 27 businesses and 2,500 people working together, I believe that we'll be able to create more value and move our marketing maturity to be moving forward at a faster pace by that community working together, our IT community with all the technology innovation opportunities that are ahead of us, services, from more of a kind of back-end IT point of view, that community working together to make us even safer across our operations, and safety is our number one priority, and not least for our people. How do we move talent around our organization, and how do we allow our talent to act as a community to learn new technologies and adopt AI and adopt new practices? So I'm hoping all of those things in our new brand story and our new way of working means that as a community, and specifically in Almo Pro AV, how do we become even more effective for our customers, our vendors, and also a platform for our people to grow their careers the fastest?
Absolutely. So the name signifies this kind of focusing that Nexora is going to do in this, that you guys really are emphasizing Pro AV and kind of moving away a little bit from being entirely IT focused, which I think DCC Technology is really, really known for worldwide. So I definitely understand that. And the Almo partners, they're not really going to see much day-to-day change other than just this clearer brand delineation.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really nice. We came up with Nexora from our people. So we ran a competition. So Josh Taylor was one of the winners from the Pro AV team who submitted the idea of Nexora. And you're dead right. Like, there's a connotation around next and moving forward, and aura around energy and the experiences that we create. But our group is quite clear now that it's focused on value creation in markets like Pro AV and Pro Audio and some of the consumer technologies for the home. But you're kind of dead right. We've moved away from IT distribution, where we think we can create less value, but actually focusing where we can create more value. So I'm hoping our Almo Pro AV customers, vendors will only see a positive here of Almo Pro AV getting access to a wider community, more working together, more unity, and also a broader purpose. That our purpose in Nextora and our brand story is that all of our businesses across the group, they're all delivering progressive technology that enriches lives. And when I go around the Almo Pro AV customers and vendors, like some of the amazingly cool things that we're doing around creating memories in stadiums. And my son still remembers the first time he walked into a stadium experience, and I've got many friends that talk about those experiences. And then you do house of worship very differently here to in Europe, and some of the memories and the moments that we're creating in those spaces, not least schools, and the huge role technology plays in helping educate the next generation. And obviously in the workplace, the amount of innovation that technology enables, and our new hybrid working environment. So I believe that purpose will open up more avenues for services, more avenues for innovation. And there's a really cool story around it early in the 1900s. Sorry, humor me. I'll be relatively quick with this story, but in the early 1900s, there was the way ice was delivered is people would go down to the lakes and they would cut ice. And then later in about 30, 40 years later was the invention of ice factories, where you didn't go down to the lakes. You built ice in the factories and delivered them to homes. And obviously later in the 1900s, people got fridges and freezers at home, personal cooling, PCs, if you like. And the people that were cutting ice down at the lakes never quite moved on to the next curve of moving into the ice factory industry. And the ice factory industry leaders never quite moved into the personal chiller refrigeration, because they saw themselves as companies that specialize in cutting ice, or factories that made ice. And I think one of the benefits here is I'd like all our companies to really be inspired and open up our perspective of what we're really doing is creating memories and delivering progressive technology that enriches lives. And I think that perspective and that vision will open up I'm fully expecting Almo Pro AV. So much innovation is already happening around services, and I know Gary Kay spoke recently around so many opportunities in our industry to do things that are far beyond distribution of boxes and shipping products around. That I'm convinced that wider vision will allow us to identify more areas to create value, more innovation, and more services to move to different waves where we can create value for vendors and customers, and ultimately play a bigger role and create a more meaningful role in enriching lives.
Absolutely. I'd also like to just talk a little bit about the Nexora name. What does it stand for? And tell me a little bit more. I know you mentioned that you guys came up with the name internally. Why did you decide to do that rather than bring in an agency?
Ultimately, our group and like Nexora, the brand story, if you like, what it stands for is that we're a collection of specialists, and all of our business, there's a unity in some of the purpose that I talked around they are all delivering progressive technology that ends up doing unlocking so many cool memories and experiences in society, and they all are doing a similar thing from a vendor and a customer point of view, and for our employees of creating a platform for progress. And therefore, like if the whole purpose is around unity and inclusion and us working together, I thought it'd be so much better for us to be inclusive of our organisation and work together to come up with a name rather than something that was invented by an external agency or by a group of people locked in a boardroom. Even as marketeers, I'm not convinced we would have come up with something as good as what the team has come up with. So we ran a competition to invite every single person in our organisation to come up with an idea, submit an idea. We had 421 ideas in the space of about 3 weeks. And then we went through and did all the things that you would normally do around IP checks and legal checks and domain availability and what would fit. And we had a guy called Marvin who works in our distribution centre, Josh Taylor, who some of your listeners may know, who works in Almo Pro AV, Sydney Davis, who works in our people function in North America, Geordie, who works in the Netherlands, and Jeffrey, who works in our Almo appliances division, all came up with a similar name. So maybe they were all leveraging Copilot or AI, but they all, and their brand story is very similar. That our business stands for progress and moving forward, and Almo's only lasted 80 years because it constantly has moved forward and it's constantly innovated and found ways to stay relevant, stay ahead, and innovate. So they all kind of talked about next and progress and innovation and moving forward and being progressive as part of our brand story. And they all feel that there's an energy within our businesses that's quite unique. And I think it also plays nicely with the energy and the aura and the experiences that we create in the end market. So I'm quite glad that they won, and we've got a town hall today where we'll be announcing the name to our business, and we're putting those 5 on a pedestal for sure for being our creative geniuses.
Amazing. Well, Vish, thank you very much for coming on and talking me through all of this. That's very exciting, and congratulations. My last question for you is, where can people find more information on Nexora?
If they go to our website, nexora.com, which I'm glad to say we were able to acquire, or we'll be showing lots of things on our LinkedIn channel on We Are Nexora, but we'll maybe also share some of the things on Almo Pro AV. But like I said, just to re-emphasize, we are fully invested in Almo Pro AV staying as our brand name. We've moved from Exetis Almo to Almo Pro AV, and nothing materially changes for the business, or everything, contracts, legals, our face out into the market, and we've got an exceptional team, and I think we've got an incredible business in Almo Pro AV. I just hope that, and I expect that being part of a more unified group and a more focused group means that we'll be able to innovate even faster and create more value. So those that are interested to learn about Nexora at nexora.com, but hopefully you'll see some of that value coming through Almo Pro AV.
Amazing. Well, Vish, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Thank you so much, Steph.
Of course. And this has been another episode of Rants and rAVes. I'm Steph Beckett, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Rave Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be